So we're starting with these 3 boxes, and each box has black and white balls. We want to draw one ball from this box, and we're going to put that ball into the second box. So what's happening is this box is starting out with a total of 8 balls. This box is starting out with 6 balls, and this box is starting out with 4 balls. Well, as I take one from this box and put it over here, my probability is no longer out of 6 balls, but actually becomes 7 balls. And where if I take one ball from this box, my probability now becomes out of 5 balls. And so whenever we're looking at the probability of whether box 2 is a white or black ball, we're no longer looking at just the 6 balls, we're looking at 7 balls. And when we're looking at box 3, we're no longer looking at 4 balls, we're actually looking at 5 balls. So for me, it's actually easier if I do what's considered a tree diagram. I start out with the first box. I either draw a black or I draw a white ball. Then on my second box, I draw a black or I draw a white. Doesn't matter if I drew a black or the white the first time. Okay? This is what's considered a tree diagram. And then on my third, I'm going to draw a black or a white for each one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to put in the probabilities based on how many are in there, based on what we started with, but also based on what we end up drawing. So here's what I mean. To start out with, our first box, it doesn't change. We have 6 white balls. So the probability of drawing a white ball is 6 out of 8. And the probability of drawing a black ball is 2 out of 8. Okay, so let's go to this branch right here. I'm going to draw a black ball. So that means I no longer have just 2 black balls. I now have 3 black balls. So that means that I have 3 out of 7 now. Because I drew 3, because this black ball came here. I still have I still have 4 white balls because I did not increase my white balls. I took 1 black ball from here and put it here. So that increased my black balls by 1. So I increased my numerator and I also increased my denominator. I didn't change the white balls. Now let's say that I draw another black ball. And I put it here. So that's going to increase my black balls by 1. That increases my denominator to 5. So I now have 2 black balls, but I still have 3 white balls. Now here, we drew a black ball, but now we're going to draw a white ball. So what that means is that instead of 3 white balls, I have 4 white balls. So I have 4 out of 5, and I go back to my 1 out of 5. So each time, whatever you're drawing on the previous box, you're increasing the next box by that color. So here, we are increasing my white by 1, and I put 2 B's there. There should have been a B and a W. Okay. So I know that my denominator here is going to be a 7 because I started out with 6, but now I'm going to increase it to 7. So I started out with 4 white balls. So that means now I'm going to have 5 white balls. And I went back to my original 2 black balls. Now over here, I know that I started with 4 balls. So all of these are going to be out of 5. Now, if I increase by 1 black, that's going to give me 2 blacks. And that'll give me 3 whites. If I increase by a white, that'll leave me with 1 black and 4 white. So you need to kind of draw you a tree diagram, because then we're going to come through here and multiply our probabilities. We want to look at each time we draw a white at the very end. Well, we have to follow the branches and look at their probabilities. Well, this branch goes back here. So I have a 2/8 times a 3/7 times a 3/5. This branch comes here. So I have a 2/8 times a 4/7 times a 4/5. This branch comes here, which will be a 6/8 times a 2/7 times a 3/5. And then this last branch will be a 6/8 times a 5/7 times a 4/5. So you'll multiply each of these out. You should get 18 over 280, or you may get the simplified version. You get 32 over 280, 36 over 280, and 120 over 280. And the reason why I multiplied is because I want this to happen, and I want this to happen, and I want this to happen. The multiplication is an and. I want the first event to happen, and I want the second event to happen, and I want the third event to happen. Now, I could do this event, or this way, or this way, or this way. So that means I want to add these 4 together. And if I add those 4 probabilities together, I would get 206 out of 280, which would simplify into 103 out of 140. So I hope this helps. Again, tree diagrams help tremendously on a lot of these. If you have more questions, just let me know.